In this video, I'm going to show you how to work with the extract all defines assistant. Before I do that, we need to select a UBot Studio file. So I'm going to use a recently opened button here, and I'm going to select this file called testfile1.ubot. Then I'm going to come over to my extract all defines assistant. Now this is a very simple assistant. As you can see, it only has a single button here. And what this does is that given a UBot Studio file, it will go through all the tabs, and if it finds any define in any of the tabs, it's going to take all of those defines and create a new tab, and it's going to dump all those defines inside that new tab. So why do we need to do this? Well, this is something which I needed for myself because of my workflow, and I thought some of you might find this useful. The thing is, when I'm finished with a UBot Studio project, what I end up with inside my UBot Studio file is plenty of tabs, and each of the tabs have UI elements and define commands. All my code is mostly inside define commands. But apart from that, there is very little code which is outside of these commands and defines. So the next step for me, once I've finished my bot, is to take all my defines, put it inside a separate tab, and then I create a fresh tab, a new tab, and I recreate my user interface using HTML panel. This is generally, I think, the path which most of us take when we are creating a bot. So the advantage of having of shifting all your defines into a new tab is that it cleans up your file, and then what you're left with in the other tabs is nothing but your UI nodes, your user interface nodes, which will be converted to a XAML or a UI HTML interface. So then you can very easily, once you're finished converting or creating your UI HTML panel, I can just delete my other tabs safely, knowing that all my code, everything is inside a separate tab which contains all my defines. So that was rather long, but I had to explain why this is needed. It's great for cleaning up. If you try doing this manually, there is no cut and paste option inside UBot Studio, so you need to copy your defines from each and every tab, and then you need to paste it inside a new tab, and that can be pretty tedious if it is a big file and there are plenty of defines. And then you need to go back to your tab and delete those defines. And there is always scope for making mistakes here. So there was nothing to do this easily and quickly. So that's why we have this assistant. It's again part of good, coding practice workflow. You may not agree with this. You may say, no, I like to have my defines distributed over multiple tabs. That's perfectly fine. This is for those times, or for those of you who think that this is the way to go. So all right, with this explanation, and now that we have a UBot Studio file selected, and if you remember, I had said in the previous video that when you select a file inside a U Assistant, it is unzipped for you and kept ready for use inside a folder, a subfolder. So I'm now going to open up Notepad++, and because, as I said, I was working with this folder in my previous session, Notepad++ opened up whatever was inside this folder. It remembered my previous session. So this is the file which we are working with, testfile01.ubot. So what I'm going to do now is I need to first of all see if there are any defines inside of this file. So I'm going to search for defines inside every tab. So I have my search results here. It tells me that there are 6 hits in 3 files. That means there are 6 defines in 3 tabs. And it's telling me the name of all my defines and its location. So the first one is, it's in 1.u script, we have 3 defines, and then in 2.useScript we have 2 defines, and then in 3.useScript we have another define. So totally we have 6 defines across 3 tabs. When I press this button, it's going to go through each and every one of these files, is going to extract the define, is going to create a new tab and dump everything there. So now that we have seen the before scenario, let me come back to my assistant and press this button. And it's telling me that all defines have been extracted and placed inside a new tab. Now if I come back here, Notepad++, I can see that a new tab has been created. So if I just click on it, it tells me that I need to reload because things have changed. So I'm going to again run the same search query, find in files, and I'm going to say define, and now it's telling me 7 hits in 2 files. Now don't let this worry you. It's saying 7 hits because in the settings.xml, you see this here, it says settings.xml. The last tab, the new tab which has been created, I have given it a default name of all defines here. You can see the word define in red. So that is what it is considering as the 7th hit. So again, all of this is inside 6.useScript. As you can see, 6 hits. So it's placed all my defines here. Let's take a look. All of my defines are here, and there's nothing here really. So now you may say it's all fine. Okay, so it's right here inside this unzipped UBot Studio file. I need to work with a proper UBot Studio file. So let me take a look at that. How does it really work when it is all zipped back into shape? Does it do I still have everything in working condition? So to show you that, I'm going to demo another assistant called create UBot file. So what this assistant does is that after you're finished working with all the assistants, you have worked on your file, it allows you to zip it back inside into a proper UBot Studio file. So how this works is you have an option to give your UBot Studio file a new name, and you can select a folder location for it, and then you need to press the create file button. Now both of these are optional. Suppose you're lazy and you decide not to give it a name or a new folder location, and simply press on the create file button. What it's going to do is it will take the original file name, but it will place the newly created UBot file inside your My Documents folder. My reasoning is that if you're working with a UBot Studio file which has some seriousness to it, some meaning, then you will not really create it inside the My Documents folder. You will most probably create a folder somewhere and then have your UBot Studio files inside that folder. So if you don't give a location or a name, placing it inside the My Documents folder seemed like a very safe bet to me. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it test file 2. Alright, and I'm going to select the same folder location as the original, so sample 1. Yeah, and then I'm going to open up that folder here. Alright, so we have the Explorer open in this location, and I'm going to say create file. As you can see, the new file has been created, and in case you don't have your Explorer window open, all you need to do is with your UBot Studio open and running, just need to click on this copy path button, then come here, say open, and then you need to paste the path here. Alright, so now I'm going to say collapse all nodes. So this is the first tab, and as you can see, there are no defines here. Let's move to the second tab. Again, there are no defines. And let's move to the third tab. It's a bit tedious, but I'm trying to show you that this works exactly like I say it does. And again, no defines. And let's run through this quickly. No defines here. Then UI, nothing here. And then this is the new tab, the final one, all defines here. And as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defines, all of that here. So this works exactly as it's supposed to. And yeah, so that's that for this video. I've shown you how you can extract all defines and quickly create your UBOT Studio file after making the changes. So in the next video, we are going to look at this assistant called Settings Creator, and this is a very useful assistant, and it allows you to create INI or INI based settings for your user interface. If you don't know what that means, I'm going to explain that also to you. So do check out the next video.